I think it's a consensus among most that slavery is a horrible thing. You hate it. I hate it. It's a bad, bad thing representative of a horrible time in American history. If you don't know it, Antebellum is going to let you know that it's bad, and then tell you all about it, and then tell you again and again. Welcome back to ML Miller Frights, a part of the Kings of Horror Network. I'm ML Miller. While you might be watching this video on the Kings of Horror Network, I urge you to click over to my ML Miller Frights page and give it a like, share with your buddies across the electronic superhighway, click subscribe to this channel, and don't forget to ring that bell for notifications. Please get the word out to new folks so we can make the Kings of Horror Network, as well as ML Miller Frights, bigger and better. Be on the lookout for a new Kickstarter campaign for an anthology I participated in called Nightmare Theater. This is a collection of short horror stories made by a whole gaggle of talented souls. The project is being helmed by David Schrader and Clay Adams. I paired up with my pirouette artist extraordinaire, Carlos Granda, for a morbidly fun morality tale to filmgoers who dare break the rules of common courtesy in the wrong theater. If you're interested in fun, scary, and gory horror, please support the Nightmare Theater Kickstarter campaign. Look below for the link. Antebellum is new on-demand, digital download, and Blu-ray DVD from Lionsgate Entertainment. It's directed and written by Gerard Bush and Christopher Renz. Antebellum tells a dual tale played by one woman named Veronica/Eden, played by Janelle Monáe. In one storyline, Eden is a slave on a plantation who many in the fields look to as a leader. In another, Veronica is a well-to-do, modern-day activist, speaking at educational conferences about black and women's rights, and enjoying all the luxuries of a modern-day celebrity. The story of Antebellum is how those two lives interconnect, and if you've seen the trailer, it's been spoiled for you. Lionsgate seemed to have so little faith in the viewer that they needed to spoil the film in the trailers, so I don't see it as a disservice to do it here. Eve and Veronica are the same person, with the slavery going on in modern times. The main issue with Antebellum is the same thing wrong with the trailer. It thinks the audience is stupid. The film goes out of its way to depict a dismal life of a plantation slave, a life consisting of hard labor, no respect, complete obedience, torture, rape, and other horrific atrocities that no man or woman should ever have to endure. This section goes on for almost 40 minutes before the other shoe drops, and it's revealed that this plantation does not exist during the Civil War era, but in modern day, with all of the slaves being abducted from their homes and forced to relive the horrors of their ancestors at the hands of racists taking Civil War reenactments way too far. While the first 40 minutes of this film are hard to endure and surprisingly well shot, they aren't anything we haven't experienced in films like Roots, Beloved, The Color Purple, and scores of other films set in this time period. Still, these scenes illustrate the terror of the time and the torture of slavery painfully well. Directors Gerard Bush and Christopher Renz capture the beauty and pain of the slaves in the cotton fields. There are gorgeous shots of the lush countryside with the sun rising and falling, contrasted with the harsh activities of the slaves and the slavers in their fields. It's when we finally hit present day, or the past in terms of the story told from Veronica's perspective, that the film loses faith in those who are watching. It's as if they need to really hammer the point home about oppression and the plight of the modern black woman. This comes in the form of lectures, as Monáe's character really likes to speak as if she's reading a freshman term paper on social justice. All of the key words like patriarchy, privilege, and whatnot are repeated like a mantra, not only in conversations Veronica has with peers and acquaintances, but also we get an extended speech by her lecturing a group of like-minded women nodding in trance-like adoration, appreciation, and understanding at the conference. This undercuts all the rather nuanced time we spent on the plantation. To add insult to injury, Veronica is one of the privileged, taking personal yoga classes, staying in the best hotels, residing in the most extravagant home and living a pretty pampered lifestyle. I wish this film would have tried to follow Veronica's realization of the harsh difference between her pampered life and the struggles of her ancestors, acknowledging what she has now compared to the squalor slaves had to live in. But that's not fashionable, and that's not what this movie wants to tell us. Basically, Antebellum wants to say that things haven't changed that much. The thing is, what they're showing us doesn't support that theory. The shackles of the slaves are still as tight and binding now as they were then, in this film's mind, which feels pretty misguided, especially after the time making that life look awful in the first half. I'm not saying that there isn't racism now, there is. But I'm pretty sure a slave taken from that era and looking at the progress made today might feel pretty good about what's happened in the interim. But this realization about the differences between these two situations isn't even hinted at in Antebellum. Living in those harsh conditions only makes Veronica fight harder, which is a good trait, and one that all heroes should have. But she has no revelation that she needs to appreciate her life back home, or at least we don't see that. The message of Antebellum is the similarity, not the differences of the eras. But in giving Veronica such a lavish life in the present, and not even showing her adjustment to the horrors of her imprisonment, forgets a crucial factor in allowing the audience to get to know these characters as a character, not simply a symbol of a hammered-in message. We know slavery is wrong, and feel for Veronica for being in that situation. But the film really doesn't care to show how Veronica specifically reacts, understands, or evolves as a character. We see another slave go through this conflict, but it would have been much more effective to see Veronica's transformation. This would make us look past the luxuries in her life, feel her plight, and root for her, having understood what she had and what she wants to get back. But instead, she's a rich person who is getting a taste of how the other half lives, and that's not nearly as sympathetic. Antebellum is told in broad strokes. We are supposed to hate the slavers because they do horrible things. We sympathize with the slaves because they're made to live in hell. But that's something you could have communicated in a very short time, as it's something that is understood universally. The players are symbols, not characters. For the most part, this is a racially charged version of The Village, where the plot twist comes in the middle rather than the end. Had the film attempted to parallel these two stories smoother, flashing back and forth between the two worlds, rather than driving the points home in 40-minute blocks, Antebellum might have told a more nuanced tale, but I doubt it. This film simply doesn't have that type of insight. It succeeds in making us sympathetic to the lead, but then knocks the legs out of that sympathy halfway through in the way she is depicted in the present. It doesn't help that Veronica's best friend, played by Precious's Gaborni Sidibe, plays the most abrasive and unlikable character you're bound to see in this and any recent film, as she orders around servers in restaurants and people she casually meets as if they were slaves themselves. She can't even accept a drink someone orders for her at a bar without demeaning them. Again, had Sidibe's character come to some kind of realization that her obnoxious behavior was dehumanizing and wrong, there would have been a deeper message to take away. But she never gets any kind of comeuppance, or learns her actions are inappropriate in the least. Again, that's not what Antebellum wants to be about. It's trying to tell us that slavery is wrong, and I got that from Jump Street. You will too if you waste your time with this good-looking but uninsightful misfire. That'll be it for today. Please chime in the comments and let me know what you think of this video, how on the nose or mind-numbingly wrong I am, or you can counter with your own review. If you like this video, please pound that thumbs up button. Share this video with your social media addicted pals. If you're looking for written reviews, you can find them on mlmillerwrites.com. Don't forget, I have 2 new horror comic book trade paperbacks you should look for. Grave Trancers is out right now, and Pirouette, collecting never-before-published issues, will be out in November 18th in only the finest of comic book stores. And be sure to subscribe to this channel and ring that bell for alerts to be the first to see my future videos. Thank you so much for your time, and take care.
You're doomed to live the life you're meant to be, stuck inside your reality. You're